Hello and welcome to Car Dealer Live. I'm James Baggett, I'm the founder of Car Dealer magazine, and today we're talking used car values with Derren Martin, head of valuations for CAP HPI. Good morning, Derren. How are you?
Morning, I'm well. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Nice to see you. Thank you very much for joining us. I take it's pretty crazy out there at the moment. Can you give us an idea of just what's happening with used car prices at the moment?
Yeah, that's an understatement. It is unbelievable out there at the moment. We've not seen anything like this before. Probably the nearest comparison is the sort of recovery of 2009, which predates me at CAP. Certainly in my time here of 8 years, we've not seen anything like it. We haven't published our monthly values yet for June. We'll do that next week, but they're likely to be up by over 6 and probably 6.5%, which is absolutely unheard of. Normally values drop by 1.5% in normal times. Sometimes you'll get unusual periods where they drop by more than that. The biggest monthly movement up we've had since we introduced our live product was last month, which was 2% up. Before that, the highest movement up was only 1%, which was in 2018, I think April 2018. So we've not seen anything like it. We've been moving cars up in value every day. Prices from 3-4 days ago already look out of date. CAP monthly values are way out of date already. It's live. It has never been more important, and it's ridiculous. And we've been speaking to a lot of retailers who have. Some of the comments that have been coming through, the prices don't look right, but they are right. The cars that looked expensive last week now look reasonable because I've just got to buy them. So it's crazy times. It's more the trade market than the retail market at the moment, but the retail market should well follow because of need to maintain margins.
I spoke to one luxury car dealer last night, who told me he was buying back supercars at the same retail price as he sold them to customers at 6 months ago in November. So the margins across the market are huge. Are dealers, Derren, managing to keep up with these price changes? And what would your advice be to them?
Well, I think at the moment, we've been advising people to buy in the trade probably since February time because we thought values would go up. I'm not going to lie and say we thought values would go like they have been because it's absolutely crazy. But really, I think the advice really is you've got to push your retail values up because you can't replace a car for what if you're advertising them now. To maintain the margin from what you bought a car from sort of a few weeks ago, you can't replace the cars for that. So really push the prices up to maintain those margins of the cars you bought previously at lower values, but also you're going to have to, I would say buy cars now because I don't think they're going to go down anytime soon, but push the retail prices up to maintain those margins because prices out there are crazy. They don't seem to make sense, but consumers are still buying as well. So it's very much demand and supply, but also I think it's led by a bit of concern over what comes next because the supply levels at the moment are a little bit lower because of March and April new car registrations being low. But the sold volumes we're seeing, they're high still. Conversion rates are high. Sold volumes are as high as they were in September last year and July last year. We're seeing more than we would normally expect, 17% more than this week in 2019, which is the last sort of normal year.
How long, Derren, will last?
That is a $1 million question, and nobody's really got the answer for that, I don't think. I think it's going to stay strong for quite a long time. We can't keep seeing these increases. Values can't keep going up like this, but they can stay relatively strong. Obviously, the semiconductor issue is there. Other parts, other components of vehicles are in short supply as well. You've obviously got plants that have shut for COVID reasons over the last few months, which is causing delays. We see lead times going out into next year. I think at the moment that manufacturers are switching or dealers are switching customers into different cars that they have in stock. But I think Q3 could see bigger shortages due to the semiconductor issue. So at the moment they're switching customers. What are they going to do when there's less supply coming through and they can't switch customers? That's when used cars could be strong still. So I think we've got strong values for the summer, at least. That's not to say they're going to be going up by 6% every month, but this month they'll probably go up 6.5% over this month, and then maybe they'll just stay stable for a while, but they could go up further over the next few weeks as well. Last month, the monthly values were out of date before they were published. By the time we cut off and done all the IT bits in the background and then published them, they were already out of date. And as I say, live is just, you can't do without live at the moment, because our monthly product is out of date.
Are consumers realising quite how fast these cars are rising? I mean, 8% in 2 months. I mean, and that's across the board. Some of these cars are rising in terms of monetary value quite considerably, aren't they? Just sat on people's drives.
Yeah, for some, we've seen, I think Mini Cooper S has gone up 15%. We've seen cars going up by thousands of pounds, and I doubt that consumers are aware. They may well be getting phone calls from dealers offering to buy the cars that they're advertising, because there's certainly some of that going on. I saw the article yesterday where people dealers buying off Kazoo. We've heard of them, franchise dealers offering offering to buy cars from car supermarkets at retail money. Similar to what you said about offering to buy cars that have been that they sold 6 months ago and they're looking to buy them again. Certainly a car I valued on We Buy Any Car has gone up by about 3 or 4 grand over the last few months. I don't know that consumers are aware. Some of them maybe, if they're using those sorts of supports. But the thing is, if you're selling a car and you want to buy one, you've got the same issue. You're going to pay more for the car you're going to buy. So it's only worth doing it if you don't need that car really, or if you're going to maybe downsize, something like that. But certainly cars are an investment at the moment.
It's mad that we're even saying that, isn't it? I mean, I suppose if we've spoken a lot, haven't we, since the start of this pandemic, Derren, and we talked about what we think might happen after lockdown 3, but I mean, this seems to have taken the whole industry by complete surprise. Quite how strong it's been.
We didn't expect it to be as buoyant as it was last summer, because if you look back to the first lockdown, the industry was pretty much inactive. There was very little buying and selling online. The auctions were closed. Everybody got their act together in June when pretty busy, pretty chaotic, especially for older vehicles. But in this lockdown 3, business levels were still at sort of 80% of normal, and we thought that there would be some pent-up demand. We knew that prices would probably go up, but we just didn't see it like this. There's no way you could have ever predicted prices to go up by 6.5% on average. And I mean, we were asked our opinion 3 weeks ago. I was saying that maybe it will go up by 2%, 2.5%. We've never seen anything like this, but yeah, it is crazy times. But honestly, there's no way you could have forecasted this, and that's why it's so difficult to forecast what comes next as well, and for how long. But as I say, I do think that there's not going to be a tsunami of stock coming through that is going to affect this. Demand may drop away. Some of it is pent-up demand at the moment. Obviously, there's the accidental savers. There's people looking to buy something that they like, looks aspirational, that type of thing. But there's not going to be a huge wave of cars coming through anytime soon that is going to affect that. So even if the demand drops away, supply isn't going to be there in abundance, and normally supply outweighs demand.
And lastly, Derren, where are you seeing the biggest rises? What sort of sectors are really seeing? You mentioned the Mini Cooper there. Is there anything else really peaking?
Well, it's across the board, which is sometimes that can be a little bit unusual, because even when we've seen strength in the past, MPVs, for example, have been a little bit weaker. But just to sort of quote you some figures, so the average at the moment is 6.2% up. That's over the course of this month so far. MPVs are up 5.7%. Convertibles are up 6.5%. City cars are up 7.5%. SUVs are up 6.7%. And to put those into sort of reality with pound notes, so A3 Cabriolet up £2,000, Q2 Diesel up £1,000 at 3 years old, Mini Cooper S up nearly £3,000 at 1 year old. You've got Zafiras up 10% at £700. Discovery Sport up £2,000. Focus Diesel up 10%. I mean, these are ridiculous. It's unheard of.
And they're all price rises in the last month. Those monetary figures of what those cars have risen in the last month.
Yeah, and they're all, so those are the trade prices. At the moment, as I say, they're not being reflected necessarily in the retail prices, but in the trade prices. And we're seeing direct sellers, so not using the auctions, they're selling at 111, 112, 113% of the monthly cap. That's so you've got rental companies doing that, you've got direct remarketers doing it, you've got finance houses doing it. So then when you come to buy from auction, they're lower than that. And the cars at auction look better value, maybe, because, but even they're at 107, 108% of the monthly cap, but they look better value than some of those other prices. But the cars are selling, and as I say, volumes are up. And I think some of those direct remarketers are doing really well because they are achieving those prices. We haven't seen sold volumes drop off at all. And as I say, prices going up day by day, week by week, and already ones that sold last week look better value than ones that they're trying to sell now. I can't overemphasize how unusual this is and how strong prices are. It's crazy.
It sounds crazy indeed. Absolutely fascinating to hear about it, Derren. Thank you very much for giving us an update, and please keep us informed if it changes, and we'll have another chat like this. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay.
Great to hear from Derren there. So for more car dealer lives like this one, you can log on to cardealermagazine.co.uk and click on the live tab at the top of the page. And for more used car information, click on the used cars tab. I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.